Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Wizard of Wealth. In today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about a pretty cool tax strategy called a Clayton election. Many people have never heard of this, and most revocable living trusts don't include it. I'm not sure why, but I want you to know about it so you can speak to your lawyer about it. What is a Clayton election? All right, you first have to understand how most revocable living trusts are written. When you're a married couple, and the first spouse dies, most revocable living trusts say that everything goes to the surviving spouse. Right? First spouse dies, everything goes to the surviving spouse. Most of the time, that's what it says. And that is called a survivor's trust. A survivor's trust. So now, with that in mind, let's look at our magic trick. Aha! I have 3 blocks, an A, B, and a C block. I'm going to put this aside. And you got to understand what each of these represent. They each represent a different type of trust. The one I'm going to talk about first is the A trust. This is the survivor's trust. This is the trust that I was talking to you about. The trust that says when the first spouse dies, everything is left to the survivor. This is that trust, okay? The survivor's trust basically says that when the first spouse dies, everything goes to the survivor. This belongs to the survivor. The survivor can take everything out of the survivor's trust, use everything during his or her lifetime, make changes, spend all the money, leave it to whoever they want. The A trust belongs to the survivor. And again, the survivor can do whatever they want with it. That's what a survivor's trust is. And that's what most trusts do. We're going to get to the B and the C in a second, but most trusts don't have a B and a C trust. They just have this thing called an A trust, a survivor's trust. The one problem with a survivor's trust is that when the survivor dies, whatever is left in the survivor's trust, it's going to be subject to estate taxes. This is going to be subject to estate taxes. If there's quote unquote too much money left in the survivor's trust, then it's subject to estate taxes, and the kids could lose 45% in taxes. That's the estate tax, okay? So is there something that they could have done differently so that when the survivor dies, it's not subject to estate taxes? And of course, the answer is yes. So this is where you got to understand the B trust and the C trust, all right? So let's go through this. We're going to put the C and the B, and we're going to go back to the A, and we're going to pretend that we could have done something different in this case, all right? We're going to pretend that initially our trust had a Clayton election. So you're about to see what a Clayton election looks like. Okay, so let's pretend that the first spouse dies. Now watch what happens. 1, 2, 3. Did you see that? You didn't see it. All right, watch. We have the A, we have the C. What happened to the B? Where's the B trust? We'll get to that. Before we get to that, remember, the A trust is still there. When the first spouse dies, we still have a trust for the survivor. The survivor can use this trust. Whatever assets are in here belong to the survivor. Survivor can use it, but it's subject to estate taxes. There's also now a C trust. The survivor can also take income from the C trust, can take principal from the C trust, but can't change the C trust, all right? And A and the C are both subject to estate taxes when the survivor dies. But what happened to the B trust? And there it is all along. The B trust is special. The B trust stands for the bypass trust. You may have heard of that. The bypass trust says that whatever assets are in the bypass trust, they are not subject to estate taxes when the survivor dies. So the A and the C, they're alike. They're subject to estate taxes. The B is not subject to estate taxes. So why would somebody do this? It's because each of these trusts have pros and cons. This is good for estate tax planning. This is good for capital gain savings. This is good for total flexibility. These are good in that they can't be changed in some ways. They offer some asset protection. So there's pros and cons to each of the A, the B, and the C. What a Clayton election does is it allows the survivor to pick and choose which assets go where when the first spouse dies. So if estate taxes looks like it could be an issue, we might use the B trust. If it looks like we're worried more about assets being sold and getting a step up in basis, we may use a C trust. If we don't need any of these, we may use the A trust. But this is what the Clayton election offers, is flexibility. And when it comes to planning, flexibility is an important tool to have in your arsenal, all right? So as I say always, a goal without a plan, is just a wish. We need to stop wishing. We need to start planning. Until then, have a magical day.